This is the Redmi Note 12 Turbo, the world's first phone with a Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2 SoC. So what is the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2? Is it any good? Is this phone any good? Let's unbox and get answers to all that in today's video. Hey guys, Ash here from C4E Tech and let's get started. Now before we proceed, a quick request: if you're on Telegram, use the link in the description to join the C4E Tech channel so that you can keep track of all my new uploads. So this is the Redmi Note 12 Turbo's box. Pretty bold branding all around. And yeah, that's the 8256 that I have. Let's go ahead and open it up. And once we open it, we are greeted by this white insert. Pretty typical Redmi stuff. We've got the Redmi branding here, the powered by Redmi logo at the bottom. Here's a closer look. Now we also have a QR code here. Anyways, opening it up, we have the SIM ejector tool, and let's look further. And here is our regular quick start guide. Of course, this phone is only available in China as of now, so I had to import it from there, hence it's all in Chinese. And then there is a soft TPU case that Redmi usually includes. Nothing special, just your regular soft case to add to the grip, protect from scratches, etc. Let me put these aside and now get to the Redmi Note 12 Turbo. So taking it out, Redmi sells 3 different SKUs of this phone. What I have here is the blue. It's got a matte finish to it, and when you look closer, it kind of glitters. Now this back, it is plastic. Now apart from this blue one, there is a black which comes with its own pattern underneath, but this is the only one that's glossy, which means it's more prone to fingerprints. Then we have the white, which in my humble opinion is the best finish amongst the 3. It's got a white to light lime green gradient, and it's got a frosty kind of pattern underneath, which looks really cool, no pun intended. I usually am not a fan of white SKUs, but this actually does look great. But this is not really the best looking Redmi Note 12 Turbo, because Redmi does sell a special Harry Potter edition Redmi Note 12 Turbo, and this has all the works. There's a lot of attention to detail shown by Redmi for this collaboration. If you are a Harry Potter fan, I'm sure you'll appreciate it. In fact, I'm kicking myself for not going for that edition, because when they announced it, I thought it's gonna be just a rough little paint job with a case thrown in kind of ordeal, but no, they've actually put some effort into this and it looks real interesting. Anyways, what's done is done. No use crying over spilt milk and all that. Moving on, the Redmi Note 12 Turbo, as with other Xiaomi phones, it comes with a pre-applied screen protector. Let me now quickly go ahead and turn the phone on and set it aside as it boots up. Digging further in, we've got a USB cable. This is a USB Type A to Type C cable with orange accents. Following that, the final thing in the box is a 67-watt fast charger. So that's pretty much it for the unboxing part of this video. Now, before we move on to everything else, a quick shout out to our video sponsor, Anbernic. This is the RG405M, Anbernic's latest handheld console that's super pocketable and at the same time sports a large enough display. This is an all-metal handheld with a nice little 4-inch 4x3 panel, which is perfect for older consoles like Sega Dreamcast and Nintendo 64. You know, the ones we've not been able to run well on handhelds this size so far. The bezels are small and the controls are comfortable, and beat it up, the sticks you see here are Hall sensor analogs, so no stick drift. The 4x3 aspect ratio works really well for retro gaming, and the 405M can even do some GameCube and PS2. Hell, if you want, you can put Skyline on it and play some 2D Nintendo Switch games. It's Android after all. To know more about the Anbernic RG405M, check out the link in the description below. Let's kick things off with arguably the most interesting aspect of this phone, the chip inside. The Redmi Note 12 Turbo, as I've already mentioned, it's the first phone to be powered by Qualcomm's new Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2. So what makes this chip special? Well, for starters, it's a 4nm chip and it's got a lot in common with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. We usually do not see this kind of power on a Snapdragon 7 series chip. In fact, this is the first time the core split up is identical to the flagships, meaning Qualcomm has added a prime core here with the 7 Plus Gen 2. Now, one thing I was super curious about back from when this chip was announced was what the GPU was gonna be, since that wasn't really mentioned by Qualcomm and they just mentioned Adreno on the site. Turns out this has the Adreno 725, which is slightly weaker than the 730 on the 8 Gen 1, but looks to be a huge improvement over the Adreno 644 on the 7 Gen 1. If you go by benchmarks, it's more than twice as powerful. So seems like it should be great for gaming. The 7 Plus Gen 2 could be a go-to SoC for gaming on a budget. I'm yet to test it in detail, but the games I did run on this phone, they seem to run really well. And for regular usage, the 7 Plus Gen 2 seems extremely capable of pushing 120Hz consistently. MIUI 14 on this phone feels super fluid to use. Well, it doesn't have Google Play Store out of the box, it does have GMS, which can be enabled from the settings. Once that's done, Play Store is as simple as installing the APK. So no issues. Now it's amazing the kind of performance we get with this phone. Given it's priced at about 25,000 rupees, the same kind of performance last year we were paying 3 to 4x more for. So it's truly impressive stuff by Qualcomm and Redmi to an extent. I love this chip and I just hope more brands launch affordable phones with the Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2. Also note that the 7 Plus Gen 2 is paired with 8, 12 or even 16 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM here, and the base model, this is props to Redmi, it comes with 256 gigs of UFS 3.1 storage with 512 and even terabyte options available. Weirdly, the Harry Potter edition is 12,256, not 16,1TB. Now another area where Redmi's done really well is with this display. This here's a 6.67-inch OLED panel with a Full HD Plus resolution and a 120Hz refresh. With 12-bit color depth, it has a peak brightness of 1000 nits alongside support for HDR10 and Dolby Vision. Now guys, I love how the bezels are kept so narrow. This makes the Note 12 Turbo easy to hold. What I don't really like is the materials they've used. The Note 12 Turbo is made out of plastic, predominantly the sides, the back. Let me quickly walk you through it. We have nothing to the left. We have the power and volume keys to the right. The fingerprint scanner is built into this power key and it's super responsive. The headphone jack, yes, the headphone jack still exists. Secondary speaker, secondary mic, and an IR blaster reside up top. To the bottom, here's where we find the primary speaker, USB Type-C port, primary microphone, and SIM card tray. I said SIM card tray for a reason because it is just that there is only support for 2 SIMs, no microSD support. I do understand that the base is now 256 and you can get up to a terabyte of onboard storage, but I'd still have loved to see microSD. Anyways, the phone feels super comfortable in hand. It feels very sleek given the 7.9mm thickness, and the weight is also kept low at 180 grams despite a proper 5000 mAh battery inside. Now this seems to be the one good thing to come out of the build being all plastic. As far as cameras are concerned, we have a triple camera array. The primary is a 64 megapixel OmniVision sensor paired with an optically stabilized f1.8 lens. The images seem okay, a little lacking in dynamic range, reasonably sharp. Here are a few more samples. The ultrawide is an 8 megapixel Sony IMX355 paired with an f2.2 lens. It gets the job done, it seems to produce decent results. The colors are pretty evenly matched with the primary, which is a positive. Now the third camera is a 2 megapixel macro, so nothing much to say about this one. Video tops out at 4K 30 and the footage is serviceable. It's a little weird though since the 7 Plus Gen 1 does support 4K 60, so it seems like we have a self-enforced restriction to cap the video to 4K 30. For selfies, we've got the very familiar Samsung S5K3P9, a 16 megapixel sensor paired with a f2.4 lens, and it does reasonably well. The edge detection is finicky though, like here it detects the AirPods fine, but here in this case, it blurs it out. So like I said, a little finicky. What is impressive though is that this phone supports 1080-60 selfie video. Now that's nothing special, but these days Chinese brands often restrict their flagships to 1080p 30 for selfie videos, and here we have a mid-ranger doing 1080-60. You can't ignore the irony. So with all that said and done, it's time to talk price. Now this phone in China, it's been launched for 1999 RMB, that converts to about 24,000 rupees or 290 US dollars. For that price, the kind of performance that Redmi's packed in is extremely impressive. The Redmi Note 12 Turbo seems to be an amazing mid-ranger. If you guys want to see a full review of this phone, leave a comment down below. And also if there are any particular questions that you have about this that you'd like for me to address in the review, leave them in the comments. And I will try to address them if I do a full review. And I guess that is pretty much it for this video. Thumbs up, thumbs down based on whatever you felt about it. Subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that bell icon if you haven't yet. And thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Until next time, my name's Ash. You've been watching C4E Tech, and I'm signing off for now. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.